All right, let me get down to brass tacks, some real talk for you guys. What car strikes the most fear out of any car enthusiast's hearts, or maybe Gen Z or millennials? It's this one right here. Maybe because it means that you're giving up on life and being a car enthusiast, but let me tell you what, here are a couple of reasons why you just might be wrong about that. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here for Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be reviewing a car which we should have had reviewed a long time ago. This one is the Toyota Innova. Alright, so this is the 2024 Toyota Innova, but I won't be blaming you if you think this is the 2017 Toyota Innova, because for the past few years, throughout this entire lifetime, the Toyota Innova has only one shape, and it has encountered a few refreshes and details right here, but the Toyota Innova will never be mistaken for any other car, except, of course, a Toyota Innova. Now, if you consider that there is a Toyota Innova Zenix right now, well, consider this particular analogy. There was a Toyota Tamaro back then, the Tamaro FX, and at the same time they released the Toyota Tamaro Revo. And then slowly but surely they were able to phase out the Tamaro FX and then just gave out the Revo instead. But this one right here, still clinging on to life despite being the fact that there already is a newer model, but tell me what, a lot of people still love it, and here's why. The front end features this pretty much large grille up front. It's got a black grille with horizontal slats right there, the large Toyota badge, and the sweeping headlamps right here on the side. Tell you what, a lot of cars, a lot of MPVs are actually trying to replicate this particular design to no avail, because I mean, how would you try to emulate a design of a pretty much like a loaf of bread? This is totally unassuming. You've got headlamps on top, fog lamps down below, and check this out, you got extra fog lamps down below as well. So how many fog lamps would you need? No, these are actually turn signals. So the turn signals of the Toyota Innova is right here. They have their own housing, and your fog lamps are right here. So let's continue on and talk about this right there. All right, hey, where did the Innova go? Oh, nah, it's right here. Yes, this hunk of slab of metal that we see here acts as the side profile for the Toyota Innova. If not for the tires, if not for the black accents on the window, you probably wouldn't be seeing this car. It's washed out in the city, but hey, you got it right here. You got a couple of character lines that are right here, really subtle on the side profile that delineates between the upper and lower part of the body, and you've got your 16-inch two-tone alloy wheels right here with 205/65 R16 tires. These are Yokohama decibel tires, which means they're supposed to be quiet, but let's see how quiet this really is later on during our drive. And hey, check this out, you got fancy repeater signals right there on the side mirrors. You do get about 177, 180 millimeters of ground clearance to work with, but it's not too high where it's going to be difficult to get in and out of the vehicle, so that's fine. Now notice that you've got a slight, well, you got a spoiler right here in the rear, giving it a little bit more edginess, but that's cute of the Innova trying to be edgy, but edgy this is not. Same pretty much applies right here on the rear of the Toyota Innova. You got boxy looking tail lamps. They got an interesting looking side turn signals here, and of course the spoiler up top. Innova in its really iconic, right now iconic scripting, and 2.8E, which is the variant that we have right here. The 2.8E actually has a rear backup camera, but in this unit we don't have it. But trust me, if you get a 2.8E, you will be getting a backup camera. But the best part of all this, you got this huge tailgate. It's manual operated, no worries. And you still get access to the rear seats right here, the rear cargo space. If you do get a flat, you'll have to go underneath there and unchain that spare tire and put it on the side. So you won't get anything underneath here. This is, after all, still based on the IMV platform, so it's pickup truck based. It has the same platform as the Hilux and the Fortuner, and you won't find anything right there below. Let me show you one of the most Japanese features to find in the Toyota Innova. This is an 8-seater. You can actually take out the third headrest out, and right here there is a receptacle for you to neatly put it in place so it won't be jostling around like any other car would. But here, there's actually a special place for you to put that third headrest. You can actually fold these rear seats down, So as you can see, pretty much like the Toyota Fortuner, the rear third row seats actually fold up sideways. They mount themselves sideways right there. Well, being a little bit deterrent to the space that should be made available. Unlike other SUVs in the market right now, which actually fold flat, these ones right here actually fold to the side, hindering your visibility and all that. But if you're tired of this layout's been this way for the past 20 years. Ever since the Innova, the Hilux were first introduced, this has always been the way. This might be good in 2003, but 2024, we might want flat floors. If you want to get those flat floor action, head on over to Toyota Zenix. That will give you a flatter floor, but these things actually have an advantage, which I'll show you later on as we go inside. Overall, the look of the Toyota Innova might be a little bit more forgettable, but I see it as more of a blank canvas that you're never going to paint on, and I like it. All right, so right now we're inside the Toyota Innova. This is the E variant, which puts it right smack in the middle of the lineup. On top of this, you've got the G and the V variants, and then below it, you got the XE and the J variant. So inside, right away, the first impression that you're gonna get is this isn't actually that bad. I mean, sure, you got hard touch plastics everywhere, but where it actually matters, right here on the outboard armrest, you got this fabric material. It's padded, and it's not just this simple line that's padded. It's the whole actual part and section right here, which gives you a lot of nice coverage for your left hand, or for your left arm, that is. But apart from that, nothing else. You got hard touch plastics right there for your knees. Even the center armrest has hard touch plastic. Steering wheel is made of polyurethane. If you want to get leather wrapped leather material steering wheel, you have to swing for the higher variants. Got this nicely sculpted dashboard here. It has a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and guess what? You've got an aux jack as well. Aux jack is that's a nice option to have, especially for you audiophiles out there who think that Bluetooth is not the way to go. You got a two-level glove box here, a smaller one on top and a larger one at the bottom. The middle of the dashboard seems to have this diamond pattern to it, giving it a little bit more contrast, a little bit more pizzazz to the interior, but although just a nice break from all this black hard touch plastics that we have. You got these manual air conditioning controls here. You don't have a heater system. It just goes from less cold to very cold, which, because the Innova Toyota Philippines definitely knows the market that Innova is in. But if you want to, we do have a rear defogger as well. But if you can actually use the rear windshield wiper to do that instead, if you're impatient with the rear windshield defogger. Right below it, you got a large space to put all your stuff in, not just your phones. You can put your glasses in, you can put your mugs in there, you can hide your deepest, darkest secrets right there as well. And you've got a 12-volt socket for you to use those fast chargers, or if you need to share the power right here. Not that you need to, because there are some USB ports. Are there? Yep, there are some USB ports right here in the back. No, there is another 12-volt socket there as well. This flap actually hides that 12-volt socket. You also have some buttons here, some control buttons that you can actually find in the Toyota Fortuner. You got this traction control button. You got 2 buttons here to select your drive modes, from Eco to PWR, or should I say power mode it is. You won't find any piano black plastics, which I absolutely love. You won't find any leather or leatherette, or even those fake leather stitchings. It's fine. This is definitely workable for me. The steering wheel is a joy to behold, because it has it's adjustable for both reach and rake, so getting your proper driving position is attainable. You won't get any cruise control on the Toyota Innova, so you got some blank buttons here as well. You do have some buttons on the left side to control your volume and your media and your call buttons, and the display buttons right here to control that teeny tiny screen to get all the information that you need while you're driving. You got your driving time, elapsed time, you got your current fuel economy, your average fuel economy, your range, the range that you have left, So yeah, everything that you need. Plus you got a small little Innova badging, branding right on top. It's gonna remind you that you are driving an Innova, which is kind of a bummer. No, not really. But yes, you are driving an Innova, which means you have it right there. You got this old school looking digital clock on top. You can just select it right here if you want to adjust it. And overall, it's a nice feeling to be behind the wheel of the Toyota Innova. It just kind of feels a little bit more old school because you can feel the diesel clatter from the engine bay inside. But that's fine, we'll be discussing that later. Maybe it's gonna be easier when you start running off. The only piano black though I see here is the indicators for the PR and D for the shifter. This is a 6-speed automatic transmission, by the way. It's a gated shifter, so it's nice. And you got your manual handbrake, which is awesome. The seats are nicely padded. I gotta say, they're well supported. They are a little bit stiff though when it comes to your initial sitting position. Once you sit down, you might feel a little bit stiff, but once your butt settles in, it's nice and soft. It's adjustable for height. You can actually recline it. That's fine. If you want to get power seats, you'll have to spring for the top of the line or for the higher variants of this. But for the entry-level ones, you get manual seats. All right, so that's enough of this. This is okay. This is a pass for me. When it comes to space, design, ergonomics, it's just good. Let's take a look at the second row seats because this is where the real fun comes in with the Toyota Innova, the second and third row. So let's go. All right, so we're in the second row seats of the Toyota Innova. Now, before we continue on that, I'd just like to say that I've got a lot of space to work with. This is definitely a vehicle I will not second guess if I had to ride in the second row seats, maybe in the third row seats as well. You have some hooks right here in the back to put in your pasalubongs in case you go out of town with the family, so it won't be touching the floor where it's dirty because your feet are there, and you can actually hang it right there instead. You even got controls here for the AC. Time for the third row test. So let's head on over and check how that goes. Before we check out the third row seats, I want to put a disclaimer that the seats are slid all the way back. So you might want to slide these seats a little bit forward to give the guys back there some room. You still have some space right here, so we'll just have to do that before I do this test. Right, so this test is for you big boys and girls out there. I'm 5'10.5", so if I can fit myself right there in the back, you small kings and queens will be fine as well. So just forward the seat forward, like so. Get into the vehicle like this. Close the door behind me. Sit in the third row seats. Fold this all the way down. And then move this. Ho ho ho! Hey-o! Guys, check this out. I still have a lot of room for me. Oh, this still reclines? What? All right. So when it comes to knee room, of course, this is the third row, so I won't have like acres of knee room, but I still have a lot of space for my knees, and my feet can still jostle around just fine here. I've got bottle holders on the side. Unfortunately, you don't get any USB ports or power outlets, so you'll have to ask the second row seat guys for for a cable to charge your vehicle or your phone. But this is just fine. In fact, let me just get this right here. In fact, let me just put the center armrest, center headrest. I probably won't be fitting 3 people in the back, but this is fine. Maybe you can find someone who's really close to you, sit them on right there in the middle, but that's fine. Well, one thing though that I noticed is that you only got 2 seat belts in the back. There aren't any lap belts in the middle for the third passenger, so just keep that in mind whenever you're traversing the road. You don't get any seat belts for the middle passenger right here in the third row, but in a pinch, this is just fine. This is probably one of the biggest rooms in a third row vehicle, in the 3-row vehicle that I've ever been in, so good job on that, Toyota Innova. All right, it's been a long time coming, guys, and I should have had reviewed this car a long time ago, but we're finally here. We're now behind the wheel of the Toyota Innova. This is the E variant, which again slots it right smack in the middle of the different variants of the Toyota Innova. Under the hood, you've got a 2.8 liter turbocharged, chain-driven, dual overhead cam diesel engine that makes a healthy 174 horsepower and 360 Newton meters of torque. Interestingly, there are some manual transmission versions of this one. It makes less power, 170 and 343. But this one, you've got some extra power thanks to the 6-speed automatic transmission. That's right, guys, you've got a modern transmission right here. It's got 6 forward speeds, no CVTs, no dual clutches, just a smooth shifting 6-speed automatic transmission, and it feels great, especially in the city. You've got 2 power modes. You got normal, which is the default driving mode as soon as you start the vehicle. You got eco mode. Eco mode kind of nerfs down the acceleration just a little bit. You got power mode, which puts all the power and torque right between from 1,000 RPM to 2,500 RPM, which makes it a great cruiser. You also got manual mode right here. Just shift the shifter right there to S, and then you can row through your own gears. All 6 gears. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you don't believe the Innova, yes, it's got 6 gears. The Toyota Innova pretty much runs on the same platform as the Hilux and the Fortuner. And as you can see, the turning radius of this bad boy, it's not that bad. It's right there. It really isn't that bad, but it's no crossover SUV, so keep that in mind. The thing about the 1GD FTV engine underneath there, it's the same engine that you'll find in the Hilux and the Fortuner. It's just detuned because Toyota definitely knows the audience who's going to buy an Innova, and it's all about, it's all about city cruising. It's all about bringing the family around in the city, out of town, probably putting on a business. I've read a couple of forums on Reddit, a few groups on Facebook, that you can actually tune that engine underneath to give it a little bit more oomph. But in doing so, it's not going to be a pleasant ride at all because the suspension wasn't really made for that. Speaking of suspension, you've got a McPherson strut setup up front and independent suspension in the rear as well. So even though you're driving a pickup truck based MPV like the Innova, it's still a very comfortable ride. It doesn't feel like a pickup truck at all, which is nice. The brakes are actually pretty good in the Innova. Despite the fact that you've got drum brakes trailing right there in the rear, it's still pretty good. Just don't be as aggressive and as crazy as you would going down a hill, especially coming down from Baguio. Try using a little bit of engine braking energy right there. Right, so one thing about that suspension setup though, it may be comfortable for the driver and the front passenger, but since, like I said, it's a pickup truck based MPV, the rear passengers might feel a little queasy because of how much it bounces, of how soft the suspension is, especially at speed. So while it might be great for it to have a little bit more weight in the back, as it stands, my lone passenger right there in the back is feeling all the bumps and ruts on the road. So that's one negative side about driving a pickup truck based MPV. Does feel solid though, really solid. NVH levels are certainly not on par with more modern, more premium MPVs in the market these days. Like I said, and I keep saying this is a pickup truck based MPV, so you will feel all the ruts on the road. The noise inside the cabin isn't that much, well, the noise isolation in the cabin isn't really its strong suit. If you can actually hear a lot of the motorcycles, a lot of the conversations going on the outside. So yes, this is not a luxury MPV by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly fine. If you're used to driving an older vehicle, this is definitely a good starting point for you guys. So the Toyota Innova's fuel economy, crazy. In the city, you get around 10 to 11 kilometers per liter, and on the highway, 15 kilometers per liter. So that's definitely not bad, especially for a non-hybrid that has about 340 Newton meters of torque and can pull 7 or 8 people with all their cargo in it. The Toyota Innova E's got some very basic safety features, but you really couldn't ask for more at this price point. You got front airbags for both the driver and the passenger. You got knee airbags right here for the driver. You've got traction control. You got hill hold assist, and you've got a backup camera. Unfortunately, no parking sensors in this one. You'd have to spring for the G variant and the V variant for that. But overall, this is definitely fine. You won't get cruise control or anything at all. But one thing that I don't like about this though, it does not have speed sensing door locks. So you'll have to be mindful of locking these doors, especially in very crowded places. The pricing for the Toyota Innova starts at 1,261,000 pesos for the entry-level J variant. The J variant is it's the most basic. It's beyond base because you've got steel wheels. Those are still 16-inch steelies though, mind you, but you get manual transmission. You don't get the automatic. Now if you want automatic transmission for your J variant, you got the XE variant. The XE variant pretty much has the same exterior features. You've got steel wheels, and steel wheels still the same, but you get automatic transmission and the more powerfully tuned engine compared to the manual. Now the variant that we're testing right now is the E variant. The E variant is available at 1,529,000 pesos, and you get everything that we've discussed here. You got the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, the 6-speaker setup instead of 4. You've got the 16-inch alloy wheels. You get the rear cameras that are available right there as well, and yeah. Now, then you can move up to the G variant. The G variant has also two variants, the manual and the automatic. The manual is available at 1,598,000 pesos, while the automatic is 1,668,000 pesos. 1,668,000 pesos for the automatic G variant. You've got leather interior. You've got a backup sensor that works with the backup camera and all that. Now, if you head up to the full fat version, that's the V variant, 1,808,000 pesos. You've got second row captain seats, leather seats. It's just pretty much the top of the line Innova. But when it comes to performance and it comes to feel, it's still pretty much an Innova through and through. Now, at that price point, it really pretty much undercuts a lot of the 7-seater MPVs on the market these days. So what options do you have apart from the Toyota Innova? You've got the smaller 7-seater MPVs such as the Expander and by extension the Expander Cross. You've got the Toyota Rush itself, which is its stablemate, but that is a much smaller version of the Innova, the Toyota Rush. Then you've got the Toyota Avanza and the Veloz, which are again compact, more unibody car-based MPVs, but they can still seat 7 people. They're not as spacious as this one, but at least you can save a few pesos off of the entry-level point of the Innova. Looking at the other brands, you've got, again, as I mentioned, the Expander. You've got the BRV, but some people actually consider the BRV as an SUV, but I still put it in one place. Is that the Hyundai Stargazer is another option, but again, you're looking at the price point of the Toyota Innova. You're probably looking at much smaller MPVs compared to this one. So what would you sacrifice if you don't choose the Innova? You lose the diesel engine, you lose the pull, you lose the space that you get inside. But the Toyota Innova pretty much gives you everything that you need. Many people are looking for the best possible value that they can get for a 7-seater MPV, and they have other options. But whenever we say that, go ahead and just buy the Toyota Innova, they'll look at you funny and say, do you have any other options? When the truth is, everything that they're looking for in their checklist already would be in the Toyota Innova. It's powerful, it's fuel efficient, it's spacious, it's ergonomic. You got great after sales value and resale value to boot. But it's pretty much like a cup of steaming white rice. White rice is it's nutritious. It's got lots of carbohydrates. It can get you through the day, but you want something extra. But what's wrong with white rice? It's not like you're on a keto diet, right? So there you have it, folks. It's our review of the 2024 Toyota Innova. It ticks so many of your boxes that it really is a wonder why not a lot of people actually like this thing. They would buy it, but not really like it. It's powerful, it's fuel efficient, it's spacious, it's practical. Everything that you need is right here. But what do you think? Would you be caught dead driving in a Toyota Innova, despite the fact that it has everything that you need? Drop me a comment in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Thanks so much for watching. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I will see you guys next time.